Hello world and welcome to the video. Seattle's having its local election right now and folks have been asking me to give them guidance on who they should vote for and why, and I'm honored and obviously I'm obliging since you're watching this video right now. However, I'd basically done no research because I live in District 3, which means I'm obviously voting for Kshama Sawant, and so I didn't have to I fully did not know what was happening. Meanwhile, other districts actually have decisions to make. Kind of. So if you don't know which district you live in, you can Google Seattle City Council District, or you can just look on which option is available on the ballot that you should have received in the mail and you need to return by August 6th. So here's how this is going to work. We are going to spend the bulk of the video talking about the city council races, but there are other votes that need to be made, and they're also super important. So this is the order that we're going to go in. Wow. A graphic. I'll give a brief explanation for why each candidate that I'm supporting and endorsing is great or just, better than the rest, as it is in some races. And if you want to know more about my research method for why I made these picks, you can stay till the end of the video. But for now, let's get into it. First of all, there are two levies on the ballot right now. One is for libraries and one is for parks. You're going to want to vote yes on both of them, and I would give you more reasons, but they're literally just such easy votes. And if you want those reasons, you're going to have to Google it yourself. Okay, here we go for city council. Before we dive in, I want to just acknowledge the political landscape that we're navigating in here. Mayor Durkan is a corporate sellout, and you should not trust her if you do not personally have millions of dollars to give to her. She's not a bigot, but that's not the fight that we have here in Seattle. She is fully willing to sell you and me down the river, and with the issues that we have in Seattle, that is still a form of violence because people are dying. Those interwoven issues that are the platform of basically every feasible candidate are housing, the dramatic inequalities between the tech giants and literally everyone else, and transportation, and then some other stuff, but those are the big three, and they overlap and they're connected, and the issues and solutions are one. So when we're choosing our city councilors and we see our mayor for who she has shown us that she is over the last 2 years, we have to choose candidates who are more on our side than on her side, because someone has to stand for us, and the mayor has shown us that that is not her. For District 1, you should vote for Lisa Herbold. She is not the best candidate, but she is the best that District 1 will get this cycle. Her voting record is fine. Sometimes the tea is lukewarm, but you drink it anyways because it's the only option that's potable. Literally the only other options for District 1 are tech bros who want more parking and less housing, and then cops who have no compassion for people experiencing homelessness. District 2, you should vote for Tammy Morales. Literally everyone is saying so. It's not even a competition. District 2 is the most racially diverse and facing the most displacement. Tammy Morales has the most experience in community organizing and actually working with racial inequality and general inequalities, and her professional experience is in community planning. Morales has some really well thought out ideas, and you can tell that she is very on board with working with the communities and not just creating solutions that happen to the communities. I feel like she really remembers nothing about us without us is for us. She seems to be really aware of how tough things are, and she's ready to engage with thoughtful and realistic proposals. So vote Morales. Hey, District 3, vote for Kshama Sawant. Don't play games with my heart, but do play hardball with Mayor Durkan. Kshama Sawant is the Judas to Mayor Durkan's false Jesus, and without Kshama to hold that hard line against the mayor, the realm of possibility for every single district shrinks. Mayor Durkan pulls us over here to this corporate place, and then Sawant pulls us over here to this for the people place, and then all the other candidates get to create solutions and work hard together, in the middle. But if we replace Sawant, and then the realm of possibility shrinks, and then all of our solutions are closer to Mayor Durkan's side, and we're more likely to get shit. People have criticized Sawant for being divisive, but I have yet to hear any of those people criticize Mayor Durkan in the same vein, so maybe they're just conditioned to think that sucking capitalism's dick is the norm and that anything that isn't that is unreasonable. I say, be brave enough to be rad. Decole. Get it? Radical. Plus, the other candidates in District 3 are a tech bro appealing to tech bros, a newbie Seattleite who just doesn't have the footing, and a bunch of other people who can't hold a candle to Sawant. If it's not broken, don't break it. vote Sawant. District 4 is in the lucky place to have a lot of really great candidates, but I am telling you to vote for Sean Scott. Before I even knew that Sean was running, I was actually in an email exchange with him and a bunch of other people to plan a Green New Deal town hall here in Seattle with the Sunrise Movement. You know, the folks who held a sit-in in Nancy Pelosi's office and then propelled the Green New Deal into the forefront of the presidential race. Sean is a historian, filmmaker, and community organizer, so his platform is rooted in our shared history of success and struggle. You don't commit to a Green New Deal rezoning and police accountability unless you understand how District 4 got to the place it is now, on the verge of a great economic boom and also extreme inequality. Vote Scott. You'd be lucky to. But also, just so you know, Emily Myers is also a really great candidate, and if you want to vote for her, that's fine, but I'm telling you to vote for Sean Scott. If you're in District 5, you should vote for Deborah Juarez, but just so you know, this is where decisions are starting to get tougher. Don't get me wrong, voting for Juarez is easy when you look at everyone else running for that seat. She means business on housing, and even though her journey to get there is a little messy, she does want to tax Amazon, which is more than Mayor Durkan can say. But maybe she is a little too pro-police and she hates bike lanes, which is definitely some misplaced blame. So District 5, Juarez is not your best friend, but she is the best you're gonna get this cycle. District 6. Yikes. You should probably vote for Dan Strauss, even though you really want to vote for Melissa Hall. Hall is the candidate most aligned with the values I'm assuming you have if you're watching these videos, and she's gotten the most positive response from like local, politically minded people on the ground in actual communities. But people are saying she lacks experience and maybe she doesn't have enough hype to actually be a feasible candidate compared to other people who have a lot more excitement. There are 14 people in this race. Your other big option is Dan Strauss, who has worked on some good causes, but was people's primary objection to the Strangers' overall endorsements, and is what locals have referred to as a tool. And people in that district are not entirely convinced, even though Dan Strauss is running as Ballard's paper boy and supposedly has strong community connections. Nevertheless, Strauss has more traction than Hall, and out of the candidates who might actually get lots of votes, he is the best one. Meanwhile, Jay Fothey is incapable of giving direct answers and is endorsed by the Chamber of Commerce PAC, aka Amazon. And I feel I should clarify, just because if you do any research of your own, you will see her name. Heidi Wills is a hard pass for many reasons, but it's proven by the fact that she's also endorsed by the Amazon PAC and the Seattle Times and the Sierra Club. We love corporate nonprofits here in Seattle. Vote Strauss, I guess. But if you would like to discuss it further in the comments, I welcome that, because doesn't it suck when you have 14 candidates running for a race and no one's happy about any of them? Ouch. If you're in District 7, you should vote for Andrew Lewis. He's been on the ground organizing for housing, and he's endorsed by a ton of labor unions. His plans around housing seem really fleshed out, and it feels like he's ready to enter that fight with the rest of the council. And even though he originally opposed the head tax, he is the only District 7 candidate who said under some scenario he might be okay with a head tax. Meanwhile, the other frontrunner for District 7 is Michael George, who is fundamentally and deeply opposed to the head tax, and the closest thing he has come to saying he'd make corporations pay their fair share is saying he would work with them, which has obviously been very successful and is not vague at all, and is also probably why he got the Amazon PAC endorsement. And if you want witty reasons to not vote for anybody else in District 7, then you can just read the Strangers endorsement, because they've got him. Now that we've gotten through all of that, we will really quickly run through King County Council, Port Commission, and School Board, and those are going to be super easy because all the good organizations endorsed the same candidates. For King County Council District 2, vote Treme Zahile? For King County Council District 4, vote Abigail Doer. For King County Council District 8, vote Joe McDermott. For Port Commission Position 2, vote for Sam Cho or Preeti Sridhar, because they have the same endorsements, so literally follow your heart. For Port Commission Position 5, vote Fred Fellman. Fellman? I would just like to say, as somebody whose last name is often slightly mispronounced, I just feel bad, like, jumping right into people's names and then getting them a little bit off, because, like, yes, I understand Jesse Pettibone is a thing, but, like, in my heart, I know that it's wrong. So it's hard for me to like barely get people's names wrong, and I want to like know the truth. For Seattle School Board District 1, vote Liza Rankin. For Seattle School Board District 3, vote Chandra Hampson. For Seattle School Board District 6, Molly Mitchell and Leslie Harris are both good candidates. The main reason to vote for Harris would be that if she gets reelected, she would be the only returning member to the board, and some people would prefer to have one person returning than an entirely fresh board. She's had some really solid votes while in office, but if having her return is not as important to you, you might love Molly Mitchell. She has experience in education and is a huge advocate for bringing change and equity, more so than Harris. However, Chandra Hampson from District 3 is also a great advocate for equity, so it's not like we would be missing that voice if Mitchell doesn't get elected. But then again, can you ever have too much? I'll leave that choice up to you. Well, there we have it, folks. We did it. I narrowed down my picks by literally Googling Seattle City Council endorsements, and I made an Excel spreadsheet about which organizations were endorsing who, and then I implemented a method that my mom taught me when I was getting bullied a lot in junior high called Consider the Source. So when a bunch of grassroots organizations and people that I admired were endorsing one candidate, I was like, awesome. And then when I saw that the Seattle Times was endorsing entirely different candidates, I was like, And then I noted that like the Amazon funded PAC also endorsed those same candidates. And I was like, cool, that's definitely who I will not be endorsing. Isn't it weird that Amazon and Seattle Times endorse the same people? And then as some clear frontrunners were popping up over and over, I started digging into the actual reasons organizations would give for their endorsements to see the real reasons that these candidates are aligning with my values. I share all of that with you because I'm not always going to be here to be able to do research for you, but I want you to understand that like it's not always super difficult to do a little research on your own to make a smarter decision. You don't have to make a full spreadsheet. You can just Google your district and then, Google endorsements for that person. It can take like 20 minutes instead of hours and hours like I do for you for free. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, but even better would be to share it with your Seattle friends because then they can make better decisions for our community. And I cannot get these videos out there by posting them on general forums because the internet does not like nuance and compassion in discussions, and I just don't want to put myself through that. So I rely on you telling like-minded people directly about these videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember, every day is a chance to get better.